Please the court, my lord. I've got instructions from Mr. Mnube that before I commence with my cross-examination, he has got a request to make before court. And if that request is not been acceded to, then I should bring a formal application.
What request is it?
I am saying,
Yeah.
Mr. Mnube instructs me that before I commence with the cross-examination, he's got a request through me to make to this court. And that in an event that that request has not been acceded to, then he would request me to make a formal application.
What's the request, sir?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, my lord. He is requesting that even before I start to cross-examine this witness, that he be allowed the opportunity to be taken to a dental surgeon for dental examination based on this late information that the state is coming up with now. He requested that if the state were to take him to a district surgeon, he will also request the permission from this court that he should also be allowed to be examined by a private dental surgeon, which he would try by all means to pay from his own pocket. And I fully agree with him in that regard, my lord, because this is information that simply comes in the process. When the case has gone on for almost 2 years, then we are confronted with a picture of this nature. We are unable to proceed with the cross-examination pending the investigation of the authenticity of what is being beamed there and of what accused number 3 is being confronted with.
Ngaphambilini kokuthi ke ngingahloma imibuzo ke nayo lofakazi ngitsheleleke noma ngicela ke yena umnumzana uNcubo ukuthi ke unesicelo kodwa ke kuleso sicelo uma kuwukuthi ke inkantolo ayivumelani naso noma iyasinqaba ke ukuthi ke ngisenze ke isicelo ke phecelezile ngokuthi ke ngenze isicelo noma i-application eformal ukuthi athathwe ke ahanjiswe ayodlala udokotela osebenza ngawo ke amazinyo ukuthi ke abe ayombheka futhi ke enze ke nokuthi ke kube nalo phenyo olwenziwayo ke nokuthi uyimisele futhi ukuthi ke aye kudokotela oyimele yena ke azuthi amkhokhele ngemali ephuma kuyena. Umele uthi naye ke futhi ke uyavumelana ke naso leso sicelo ngoba ke icala seliqulwe isikhathi esingeminyaka emibili manje ke umbuso uza ke nalobufakazi lobo balesi sithombe.
He further says, my lord, that I should mention that he does not think, and I share the same sentiment, that this request would have a prejudice and on either the state or my colleagues on the side with regard to the time or the term that is going to be said that that application will be of a time-wasting nature. This is a genuine request that is going to do to the core of his defense.
Kunye futhi uqhubeka ke angiceleke futhi nalapho ke engivumelana ke naye khona ukuthi ke lesi sicelo lesi ke akacabangile ukuthi ke isicelo ke esizothi ke sidicilele phansi ke noma ke uhlangothi lombuso kanye futhi ke nabanye abameli ngokumayelana ke nesikhathi leso isicelo leso ke esizothi ke sibe sifakwa ngaso nokuthi ke kuzoba ukuthi kube uchitha noma ke ukuhambisa isikhathi uma efaka leso sicelo leso.
This is based, my lord, simply on his understanding that will come up when I start to cross-examine Mr. Mabasa here. But suffice it for now that he requested me to bring that request to the court, my lord.
It's an application or a request?
I've said he It's an application which I understood to have been, actually it's a request for status which I understood to have been an indulgence, my lord. But failure which, then I'll have to bring a formal application.
What does the law say? Does it say a litigant can ask or make a request? I just want to understand, that's it. Is it a request or an application? Because as it is, we have a witness who's supposed to be cross-examined.
Yes,
You're making an application that it should not be cross-examined until that request, as you say, is
yes,
complied with.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Let's hear Mr. Ramusipidi.
May I approach in the meantime, my lord?
As it pleases the court, my lord, from my perspective, I would not object, given the late disclosure of this photograph that depicts Mr. Mngube with what appears to be a gold tooth on the upper quadrant of his left jaw. And given,
So you support the application?
I'll support the application, my lord.
Ms. Simwa,
This is my lord. I do support.
lord.
I support the application, my lord. Thank you.
Ms. Msololo,
Yes, my lord, I support the application, my lord.
Doctor,
Is the
there's
court-
an
this is my
application. What is your view?
We oppose to the application, my lord. Yes, I mean, we are busy with the state case now. If then it is the version of accused number 3 that he did not have a gold tooth, then he must put it to this witness. And then if he wants to have that done, he will do it during his case.
Is that what the law demands?
That's correct, my lord.
No. You see the problem with this case, with this court, people talk about the law, they don't quote it. Me, when I talk about the law, Mr. Ngumalo, as you know, I quote it. And this application, I'm prepared to listen to it. But, you know, the law says, if you are bringing an application, Ms. Mshololo, Ms. Ramusipidi, you know that. You must bring an application supported by law. In South Africa, the law which is applicable in civil matters, criminal matters, starts. The Constitution says we can even listen to the laws in America, Australia, France, Germany, Canada. As long as that law, we don't have it in South Africa, we can utilize even foreign law because our Constitution allows us. And further, because we were colonized by the British and at some stage also by the Dutch, we've got Roman Dutch law which is applicable in South Africa, and we also have British or English law applicable in South Africa. So I want to listen to that application supported by the law. I'm not against anything. Me, I'll never make a request which comes from wherever without me saying, like when I was telling you what the law says about inadmissible evidence. I read it, here it is. And then the law is quoted. And I quoted South African law, State versus Arcats 1946, 71 to 78, Watermeyer. Then I quoted State versus Mpanza, 1915 AD 348 to 352, and Art versus Torpedo, 1920, 58 to 62. I also quoted R versus Matthews and another, 1961 SA 752A. I even quoted that law, State versus Watermeyer, 1972, 2, which I gave you the citation of all of you. So I don't have a problem there. Mr. Mnisi can bring his application and quote the law to me, and if we don't have that exigency in South African law, he can go to Canada, he can go to Australia, he can go to Germany, he can go to the United States and quote that law. And you know, I did a case the other time It was concerning 2 youngsters. Apparently, it was alleged that they are members of ISIS and they were trained in Syria and they sabotaged Jewish premises and shops in South Africa. But that law was predicated on the United Nations Council's laws. It wasn't based on South African law. And some of the councils there brought me law which pertains to decisions of the International Court of Justice and decisions of the Security Court pertaining to South African law, which was domesticated in order to apply to South Africa. So there's no problem about that. How do you see it? Because you are saying it's not done. What? You also must come with citations that it is not done. It's not enough to say it is not done. You must tell me in terms of this case, this is what Sobukwe said. That as a quero. And then this is what Mandela said, etc., etc., etc. No problem. But you can't just stand up in court and say you're making an application, because this court wants to be educated. If there's some law I don't know, I would gladly want to be educated on it, because I've done 55 years of criminal law in courts throughout this country. It's a unique application, this. I've never ever had it. And I'm not saying it's not sustainable in law. Okay, can you interpret that?
Isicelo-ke usifakayo Mnumzana uNcube, inkantolo iseyinikeza-ke abameli ukuthi-ke basho-ke ukuthi bona-ke basibona kanjani, basho-ke abameli ukuthi-ke bahambisana naso isicelo lesi. Umbuso wona-ke wathi cha, uyasinqaba-ke isicelo leso. Isizathu-ke abanikeze ngaso ukuthi-ke kuseyibona-ke manje abasahola-ke ubufakazi uma kuwukuthi-ke uyaphikisana-ke noma nalokhu ufakazi akushoyo ukuthi wawunalo-ke izinyo legolide. Lokho-ke ngakusho kufakazi noma-ke uma sekufike isikhathi sokuthi uzokwethula-ke wena-ke ubufakazi, yilapho-na-ke manje usungathi-ke usuyacela-ke ukuthi uhambe-ke uye kuyena-ke udokotela loyo ayokwenza-ke ucwaningo lolo. Besiqhubeka-ke inkantolo ithi kona konke-ke okwenzekayo enkantolo akusiyona-ke indlela-ke yokwenza ukuthi nje umuntu asukume noma umbuso noma abameli athi ngifaka lesi sicelo. Usesho ukuthi esekuseni-ke ufundile umehlulela incwadi leyana bekade iphakamisileke ukuthi iyona-ke ebaholayo eshoyo ukuthi uma ngenza lokhu noma-ke uma ngenza lesi sicelo ngenza-ke ngaphansi kwalo mthetho. Uthi-ke awukekho-ke umuntu amnqabelayo ukuthi akwenze lokho, kodwa uyimisele ukuthi-ke inhlangothi zombili kwabashushisi nakubameli ukuthi baze-ke nomthetho, basho ukuthi-ke umthetho usho kanjena, kodwa hayi ukuthi nje umuntu asukuma athi ngicela ukwenza lokho.
Okay, so when do you want to launch the application, Mr. Ncube? I mean, Mnisi.
I'm not certain, my lord, because
How many days, how many weeks you want? This court is very amenable.
let's come back on next week Monday, my lord. Yes.
So what is it?
Yes. Next
What is
week Monday.
today?
Wednesday, my lord. So Monday, today is the Tuesday. Monday is a public holiday. We're observing the youth day, so we'll come back on Tuesday.
Is that enough for you, sir?
I think that will be more than enough.
Is that enough for you, Mr. Ramsey? Even you also. You're saying you're supporting the application, you must bring your own heads of argument. Mr. Ngamalo, Ms. Jololo, supported by authorities. You can have recourse, like I say. What section is our constitution? Section 20? What? Doctor? Which says you can quote international law? Our constitution.
Yes.
Do you know that?
Okay, yes, my lord. We will be ready to argue the point on Tuesday as well, my lord.
I'll give you 2 weeks because
No.
I know what it entails. I read, for instance, you can ask this gentleman. If he fetches for me, ask him. English authorities on points which I go through when I have to address you guys. Like this, I quoted an Australian case. So I'll give you 2 weeks so that nobody says, I
No, my lord, there's recess. I think Tuesday we'll be ready to address the court with even international authorities.
Is it enough Tuesday, everybody?
It's enough, my lord.
Enough? Okay, We'll postpone to Tuesday then. What will be the date?
17th of June.
Of June, fine.
So kuya ngolwesibili ke 17 kulungiselela abameli nabeshushisi ukuthi benze lesi sicelo lesi.
Okay.
In according to the witness is available.
Yeah, that's the point. No, but will you be available? Maybe they are going to take the whole day addressing this court on the law. Are you with me? They've got to address and Mr. Ramosipidi, Mamalo and Ms. Mshololo, they are also going to address, and thereafter you have to respond, right?
That's correct, my lord.
And thereafter they have got to reply. Is that how the law works in South Africa? So there will be an address, a response, and a reply. Is that true?
That is so, my lord.
Fine. That's why I say maybe you won't even be called upon to. Then this court, after that, has got to read the response, the reply, and the application, and come with an order. Okay? So maybe it's unfair on the witness to come, unless you want to listen to the arguments, fine, no problem. But I don't think, on the basis of what I'm anticipating will happen, you will be called to, because the decision can go either way, I don't know. It may be that Mr. Mnisi comes with a law supporting what he says should happen, then we will have to adjourn, then a dentist has got to be instructed, etc., 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 etc. Maybe the state also would want to instruct their own witness, who happens to be either a dentist or whatever, to consult with him. That's how I think it works. That's why I say this period is short. And aren't you going to want to consult with your own dental? Because this is unusual. Here, the accused wants to cross-examine this witness because he says this evidence was never anticipated. And if it wasn't anticipated, maybe the state also wants to instruct its own dental. And I've been sitting in this court for about 2 years. I remember it took us 1 year to listen to the evidence of a ballistic expert called by the state. You remember?
Mangena, yes.
Not Mangena, Peters or whoever.
Oh, Peters.
Remember, the first one, they said he's in Italy or Uganda or whatever. Then ultimately, the second guy became available. It took us a year, Mr. Muhammad. Am I correct, sir?
Yes,
Took us 1 year, minimum.
minimum.
Yeah.
So, my lord, the witness can be excused for Tuesday. We'll come and argue, and then
Then you let him know.
we'll let him know.
Is it okay, sir?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, then we shall adjourn until Tuesday then.